Well, I want to welcome everybody back in our Facebook audience, and I'm Linda Wilhelm. I'm president of the Canadian Arthritis Patient Alliance, and we're here in Ottawa with the Canadian Rheumatology Association annual meeting. I'm here with Jacques Brown, and he is from Laval, and I'm going to just get you to tell me a little bit. Can you tell me about your involvement in the rheumatology world and your role at Laval?
Yeah, so I'm coming from Quebec City. I'm from Laval University. I have been trained over there and trained in rheumatology in Sherbrooke. And then I went for 2 years in research in bone diseases in Lyon. And I've been practicing rheumatology close to 34 years now, being involved both in treating patients with arthritis condition like and bone diseases, as well as being, running clinical trials and doing some basic research in the genetics of patient disease.
Wow, you've seen quite a change then in 30 years in care of rheumatology patients, I would imagine. From 1980s to now is very different.
Yeah, I can give you just an idea of how far we went. At the time that I started practicing rheumatology, 1984, we were barely using very small dose of methotrexate, and the motto was go slow, go low. And, this was the only drug with penicillin, gall salt and things like that, which in some cases were curing some patients, but with very high proportion of people having side effects. So we've made major improvement in terms of treating conditions. And when I first started, there was no treatment option for osteoporosis as well. So I think, I'm glad to see.
Certainly a lot better world for patients like me now than it was in 1984.
Exactly.
I was diagnosed in 1983 with rheumatoid arthritis, so I think it was very different, and I'm glad we've made all those advances. But you're also going to receive a pretty big award tomorrow night, a Distinguished Service Award.
It came like a big surprise, I must say, because I've been always involved in doing clinical research, but and I've been here almost every year to this meeting presenting some of my work, but it came like a big surprise, and I'm very happy to receive that kind of a acknowledgement from my peer community in rheumatology about what I've been doing, because I felt that I did what I had to do, and I've been fortunate to be involved in research.
Yeah, it's humbling. I know I received one of the awards for our consumer work a couple of years ago at the Alliance annual meeting, and it's quite humbling. It's very exciting to be rewarded by your peers for the work that you're doing. Can you tell me a little bit what you think is the most exciting or important thing that's going on at this conference this year, that from your perspective, what you've seen?
Well, if I see on my field of research in terms of bone, I enjoy very much the talk that we had this morning by Dr. Warman on the rare bone diseases, giving clues on the genetics background and trying to understand, the pathways that are involved in some disease, more common disease like osteoporosis, for example. There's many examples of that in rheumatology, where I would hope in the future that we could define more specifically what we call rheumatoid arthritis. Might be many diseases, many different phenotypes we call expression of the disease that could lead to more specific or targeted approach. And I think we've seen that in the field of rheumatology. Yeah, and what I felt would need to be resolved is the issue of why do you start with that biologics rather than the other one? And trying to be more specific rather than having some patient waiting for 9 months or 12 months and getting two different biologics, and that's a third one that is really the one that is curing their disease. There is something under that. It's genetics, it's environmental, there's many issues, and hopefully we will be able to, in the future, having kind of an inflammatogram where you would say this patient would enter to that specific biology. So don't lose your time with the other one. Just get this one for that patient.
Well, and the cost savings to the system of having somebody treated so much more appropriately, so much sooner, without wasting all that expensive medication would be actually health policy people would love love to see that. And you've really answered one of my next questions, of where do you see rheumatology care going in the next 10 years? And so I'd say you think it's going to head towards more personalized precision medicine.
Exactly.
That will target treatments, which is better for patients as well, because then they're not fumbling around for 2 years trying to find a treatment that's going to treat their disease.
And scientifically also, it's more rewarding for the patient or the physician treating those patients. Targeting, you feel that you really need applying what you learn from the science to apply to, treating patients more carefully. So.
Another question I had was, because we're here on Facebook Live and we have a great audience, and it's amazing because we can share, you with our other patients out there, because obviously not everybody can be in Ottawa for this meeting, so it's very exciting for us. What do you think about social media and technology going forward in relation with patients and engaging the patients, and how that's going to change healthcare?
Well, I think it is already changing healthcare, because I think it's addressing, like you said, an opportunity for everyone to get access to good knowledge about. One of the issue with social media is that what is in it has to be, you have to be careful about what you're listening on, because there's no censure. And yeah, exactly. And then I think that's something that both the CRA and the Arthritis Society has been always, I think, one step forward to bring, good science forward, and having people that are knowledgeable about what they think about and what they talk about. And I think that's a good source of information. And I think it gives the perception and the interaction available for everyone. So I think it's a good move. It's just, you have to go to the good source.
Yeah, the power of collaborations and partnership and making sure the right information gets out there. Well, that's all the questions I have. I want to thank you for coming today and for speaking with us, and for giving our people out in virtual land some information, valuable information. And I just don't know if we have any questions from the Facebook Live people.
Are there any particular website you would direct patients to go to for helpful resources?
On a daily basis?
Yeah.
I'm usually, looking to the Arthritis Society network, but also I find it very useful, the room info, information about the drug that are used in treating arthritis patients, because sometimes we don't have time to go over all of that, and patient, when they learn about this side effect that we didn't cover because this was rare, they feel threatened. They feel that this physician didn't tell me that it could give that. So I think it's a well-informed and balanced information.
And we have another question. What does Dr. Brown see on the horizon in terms of new treatments? Is there going to be a chance soon to stop autoimmune forms of disease?
Well, the issue about autoimmune disease, and I'm not the expert in that, but I've been working with people like Paul Forte in my place and things like that. Is that, like lupus, for example, it's a thousand faces disease where you have so much variation in the expression of the disease that sometimes there's no easy common pathway for one given diseases. And I think it's in the future, more personalized approach would be very helpful in that disease. First of all, in defining which treatment or pathways are involved in that specific expression of the disease, and then target this pathway. And then this would be a more personalized approach. So I think there is a lot of hope that in these difficult disease, autoimmune disease, we would find targeted approach that will help people.
Well, thank you so much for coming, and hopefully we'll get more money for research going forward as well to solve some of the issues that we need for patients. So thank you again.